All right, folks, welcome back for episode 3 of Tailgate Talk. It's Matt with On Trail Training. And today, since we covered hard shackles yesterday, I said, hey, let's cover soft shackles today. Pretty new product on the market. A lot to learn about these. We're still figuring out how these things work and how to best use them. As opposed to hard shackles, those things have literally been around for hundreds of years. We know them well. We know how they fail, why they fail. Soft shackles, been around 10, maybe 15 years in the off-road world. Just getting into more and more popular use now. There are differences. There are right ways and wrong ways to use these things. So we'll start off with this style of soft shackle. This is what is called a diamond knot. I'm going to talk about some of the names. Don't concentrate on the names too much. Just remember what to look for when you buy these things. You'll know a diamond knot. It'll have a single strand. And if you look, you will see these ends where these tails had come out of the knot when they splice this thing together, and then they'll trim them off and sometimes burn them to keep them a little cleaner. This was one of the easiest style to make. It's also one of the least expensive to make. It requires the least amount of labor. This is also the weakest style. Typically with these, we see about 130% of line strength. We can get a lot better line strength out of just by the way we splice these things. They kind of evolved into what they call a button knot. This is a Gator Jaw Pro, just the Gator Jaw from Bubba Rope. And then we have the Safe Extract one, which is what they call a better button knot. This is the strongest out on the market right now, just the strongest style. For the same size line, we can go from this diamond knot style, failing at around 130% of line strength, up to 230, 240% in some cases of the line strength with this. We'll know the style to look for, but we'll see two separate strands. This one comes from Safe Extract. It's got a nice tag on it with all the ratings in place. And I know it's a quality piece. I like to stay away from any of the soft shackles that have any sort of sheath or coating on it. I can have damage happen to the line, which is the load-bearing portion of it, and not be able to see that. That sheath can hide that damage. I could potentially have a failure that I wouldn't know of. When I attach these, there's been some debate on this recently. How the best way to attach it is this way with a knot in the middle, all that good stuff. I am a strong proponent of putting that knot out on the end. I want to see knot, noose, load. 1, 2, 3, right together like that. This is the safest style to do it. This way, this part that opens up is called the noose. Slide it over the knot. As that tightens, it will snug around the line there, and there's no way for it to slip off. With that knot in the middle, there is a potential, if this doesn't set properly, that I can get something like that happening. And under tension, this connection could come apart. It wouldn't fail, it would just come apart and thus lose the load. I'm a big proponent of going this way. Be very cautious of what you hook these things to. Wrapping them around a frame to do a recovery can fail the shackle very quickly. I have a lot of little nicks and burrs and screws and wires and fuel lines and brake lines and all that stuff running along the frame of the vehicle. And if this slides across those under tension, it only takes a very small nick to fail one of these. Are these a complete replacement for the bow shackles? Not in my mind. I still have many occasions where I'll use that hard shackle before I would use one of these soft shackles. Where I do use these frequently are two cases. One where I need an improvised recovery point, maybe doing a rollover recovery, and I've got that vehicle on its side, and I need to get a connection point right there on that top of the roll cage where I can pull the thing back over. Fantastic tool for that. I will also use these with kinetic ropes. Kinetic ropes store a tremendous amount of energy, and when there is a failure, they throw things at huge velocities. I would much rather have this coming back at me than a 5-pound chunk of metal. A little safer in that regard. Pretty new out there. Keep an eye out, pay attention to the weight ratings on these. Huge differences just in the way they're spliced. This is that better button knot. Remember those two strands. Couple of them out there on the market that are manufactured this way. That's what you want to look for in one of these. Get the strongest piece you can. Thanks much for listening. I will see you soon.